Conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so we're on page 170, which is chapter 32, verse 4, Pasuk Dalid, Parsha Vayishlach. First of all, thank you, Judy, for the Parsha, for the pastries. I'll give the Parsha. Together we'll do the Parsha. And our learning this morning is Le'iloi Nishmas, in memory and Nizchut, of Malka Bat Shmuel, Judy's mother. How many years now is it?
61.
Wow. 61. Wow. My kids just, I still wrap my head around it. My kids took a picture of myself and my sister, Aleh Shalom, passed away when we both were young. And there's a picture of us, and they used AI to bring it to life. Instead of just standing there, then we give each other a hug. And,
oh my God. No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yisroel?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll show you. I don't. My phone isn't there. They did two. One of them has her talking. That I didn't like. Doesn't sound like her. But without the sound, seeing her moving and giving each other a hug.
I didn't even know they can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So
it's like amazing, but it's also hard, right? To watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's really scary, this whole AI thing. Then from now on, you never know if what you see is
100%.
real or not.
100%.
You'll never know from now on through eternity.
Yeah. Yeah. Seeing is believing.
No more.
Is moot. Yeah, that is.
And the abuses that we will do with it, because that's our nature.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah. Okay, let us begin. Vayishlach Yaakov malachim lefanav el Esav achiv arza seir sidei Edom. So Yaakov is now leaving the house of Lavan after 20 years on his way back home. He doesn't know where things are at with Esav, with his brother. And actually, the sages condemn Yaakov to a certain degree for initiating this contact. They compare it to prodding the sleeping bear. Right, the bear is asleep. Why are you going to cause it to stir? But he sent malachim. Now, a malach can mean Malka Bat Shmuel. Amen. He sent malachim. Now, a malach. No, actually, it's Bari Priya 8. Yeah. Yeah, blueberries are Bari Priya 8. Actually, Adama. Amen. Actually, and one of the young ladies in our community was going through conversion, so she, so I prepared with her, studied with her classes, right? And then she went, and I said, "How'd you do?" She said, "I did very well." She said, "But I got one of the brachos wrong." I said, "Which one did you get wrong?" She said, "Blueberries." I said, "You know that's Bari Priya Adama." She said, "Thank you, Rabbi. That's what you taught me, but it's Bari Priya 8." Yeah, I also stood corrected on that. I was teaching it actually incorrectly for oh, now you're blaming me.
Rabbi, what's the logic there? Because that grows from the ground.
It's not like a strawberry that's on a runner on the ground. It's on a blueberry bush. It's a serious bush.
It can get quite cold.
The question is, why is that different than a tomato that's also on a bush? But that's above my pay grade. I just try to make the right brachas. That's all I try to do. Okay. Yaakov, I don't want to go off on that, Janet. Yaakov sent malachim lefanav. Yaakov sent malachim. Now this is fascinating. A malach can mean a messenger. Malach could also mean an angel. Why would we have the same word for messenger as angel? Because an angel is simply a messenger. We mentioned last week the Ramban's explanation of Yaakov, Jacob's ladder, and the angels were going up and down. What were they going up and down? Those had completed their missions were going back. Those were on their way to the missions were going down, right? So malach is sent with a definite mission to accomplish. Now, this has become very interesting. So Rashi brings malachim mamish. Rashi learns it was literally angels that he sent. And if you look back to 168, the previous Parsha ended with Yaakov on his way. The last pasuk was, the second to last pasuk, the Yaakov halach lidarko, Jacob went on his way. V'yifga'u and he encountered malachei Elokim, angels of God. Yaakov said, Kasher when he saw them, Machanei Elokim said, this is a godly camp. And he called the name of that place Machanayim. The next pasuk is, and he sent malachim. He sent malachim. So who did he send? Those malachim that he just encountered, he now sent them, lefanav, before him, el Esav achiv, to Esav his brother, Artsa Seir Sidei Edom, to the land of Seir, the field of Edom. Good morning, Linda. So the Or HaChaim points out very interesting over here. So we call him Esav Achiv, Esav his brother, Artsa Seir, the land of Seir, Sidei Edom, the field of Edom. And the Or HaChaim says that this is alluding to the three different types of relationships that we will have with Esav during our history. And the first is until the time of the Chorban Beit HaMikdash, until the time of the destruction of the temple. Then it was Esav Achiv, Esav our brother. Artsa Seir, after the Chorban, after the destruction until the Messianic times, then it's Artsa Seir, it is his powerful land of Seir. And the exile, the Galus that we are presently in, is referred to as Galus Edom, the exile of Edom, Edom meaning Esav. But ultimately, when the Mashiach comes, we say that there will be like a Sadeh Techarash, like a field, it will be plowed. And when Mashiach comes, that power of Esav will be plowed up, and it will be like a Sadeh Edom, like a field of Edom. Okay. The whole power of the Western world and all of the values and the mistaken values. There are some good values. The mistaken values and the mistaken understandings of God, right? The Western world is usually Esav is the Western world, Christianity in the Christian world, the Western world, and Yishmael is the Arab world and the Muslim world. Those are basically how typically we break these things down. So Yaakov is afraid over here. He's unsure, and he wants to see what's going to be with Esav. Vayitzav otam Lamor, and he commands them, saying, Ko tomrun. This is what you should say, Ladoni le'esav, to my master, to Esav. Ko amar avdecha Yaakov. These are the words of your servant Yaakov, Jacob. Im lovan garti, with love and I have lived. Va'echar ad ata, and I've been there until now. Vihi li shor v'chamor tzon ve'eved v'shivcha. I've got some oxen, some donkeys, some flock, some servants. Ve'shlecha la'agid ladoni, and I'm sending to tell my master, limtso chen be'einecha, to find favor in your eyes. So what is the message that he is sending? Rashi brings two explanations. One, he says, Lo na'aseti sar v'choshav ela ger. I have not become, right? You're all bent out of shape about the brachot that I received. You don't have to worry. I have not become a sar v'chashuv. I have not become an officer, this great notable person. Ela ger, right? I'm a sojourner. I'm a traveler. Eincha kedai l'sno oti al birchot avicha sheberchani. Right? It makes no sense. It's not worth it for you to hate me for the blessings of Father, that he blessed me. Havi gavir la'achecha. Yeah, you should become a gavir, a leader over your brothers. Sharei lo nitkaima bi. It has not been fulfilled by me. Okay, we'll come back to that in a moment. That's somewhat problematic. What's the message that he's sending over there? Rashi has an additional explanation. Davar acher dalet aleph garti. I have lived the gematria. It's the same gematria. Actually, it's the same exact letters as Taryag. 613. Famously, the 613 mitzvahs. Klomar in Lavan Arash garti the Taryag. I lived with Lavan. I kept the Taryag mitzvot. And I did not learn from his evil actions. Okay, so clearly it's not 613 mitzvot, right? No one keeps 613. Some are for men, some are for women, some are for Kohanim, some are for Levium, some are for kings, some, right? But it means that I kept my spirituality, and I've not learned from his evil ways. Well, let's go back to that first one. The first one, he says, listen, don't hate me over the brachot. Lo nitkaima bi. They were not fulfilled by me. So what is he doing over here? Is he denying the validity of his father's blessings? The blessings, you don't have to worry. They weren't fulfilled anyhow, right? And furthermore, a blessing can be and often is fulfilled much later on. It's not cash and carry. It's not instant reaction over here. So what is he saying to Esav? How is he placating Esav without denying the validity and the potency of his father's brachos? Do we hear the problem? He's trying to calm Esav down. Don't be worried that I took the brachos. They weren't fulfilled anyhow. So is he denying the validity of brachos? Does he not know that brachos often manifest at a much later point in a person's life or in a person's generations or a person's history? So what is this placating that he's trying to do with Esav over here without denying the potency, validity of his father's brachot? Yes, but how is he downplaying it without denying its validity? So there's an interesting approach. Back before, when Esav sold the blessings to Yaakov, Yaakov said, Michra kayom et bechorat chali. Kayom, today. And the Seforno there speaks about the Esav mindset is, I want now. Right? The microwave world. Right? I want a piping hot in 30 seconds. Right? That's what I want. That's the Esav mindset. That's the Esav view on life. Right? It's not lemachar. Right? We don't have this delayed gratification. It's what's in it for me right now. So Yaakov was saying to him, Esav, these brachot were never meant to be instantaneous. Right? Look, I received the brachot. And look at me. It has not been fulfilled. Therefore, what you want, I didn't take from you. This is long-term brachot. And therefore, you have nothing to be upset with me about. So he sends these messengers, and they come back. Pasuk Zayin, verse 7, page 170. The angels or the messengers returned to Yaakov saying, Banu el achicha el Esav. We have come to your brother, to Esav. Now, it could have simply said, we came to your brother, or we came to Esav, or we came to your brother Esav. But it splits it up. We came to your brother, to Esav. So the way Rashi learns this, we'll see others learn it differently, but Rashi learns this. We went to the man that you were referring to as your brother. However, what we encountered was not brotherhood. Rather, what did we encounter? El Esav. He's coming not as a brother, he's coming Esav. V'gam holech likratcha, and he's coming toward you. V'arba me'ot ish imo, with 400 men with him. Now, Rashi and others learn this is a very serious threat. He's coming as Esav with an entourage of 400 people. Now let's look at the Torah's words here. Holech likratcha. Right? So we translate it as Archibald said, heading toward you. But how else can I explain Holech likratcha?
In a very favorable way. There's no translation.
Yeah, right? He's
Fine.
coming to greet you almost, right? Let's take a look. Turn to page 308. Let's see some other brothers getting together. Page 308 is in the book of Shmot, Exodus chapter 4, and let's say verse 10. Let's go through a little bit over here. Moshe, this is the burning bush. God is speaking to Moshe, saying, I want you to go to Pharaoh, to go to Paro, to bring the children of Israel out of Egypt. Moshe Hashem, Pasuk 10, Moshe says to Hashem, please Hashem, Lo ishvar manochi. I'm not a man of words. Gam itmol, gam shashom, gam ezvad berchal avdecha. Right? Not yesterday, before, from the time you've spoken to me, kavad peh, v'chvad lashon anochi. I am heavy of mouth, heavy of speech. Right? Some explain that Moshe thought, if you send me to Paro, then my speech difficulty will be resolved. You're not going to send me like this to Paro. Hashem said to me, Adam, who gave a mouth for a person? Or who will make a person mute? O cheresh, or deaf, or pikeach, or wise, or iver, or blind. Hello, Anochi Hashem. I is me, Hashem. Vata, lech, and now go. Vanochi ayam picha. I'll be with your mouth. I'll show you what you should say. And Moshe said, be Hashem, please. Shlach na bi'at tishlach. Send with whom you normally send with anyone but me. Vayichar af Hashem Moshe. Hashem got angry with Moshe. He said, Alo Aaron achicha Levi. Behold, your brother Aaron, the Levi. Yadati, I know. Ki daber yidaberhu. He will surely speak. The gam hinehu yotzei likratecha. He's yotzei likratecha. The same term. We had holech likratcha, yotzei likratecha, v'ra'acha v'samach b'libo. And he will see you. Not you'll think that he'll feel cheated. Why is Moshe getting this position and not me? No, he'll be happy straight through into his heart. So Aaron yotzei likrato is a very warm, familial greeting. He's coming to greet you. He's not coming toward you. He's coming to greet you, as they say over here. He's going out to meet you, to greet you. So we see Yotzei Holech Likratcha can mean in a very congenial, brotherly manner. Let's go to page 846 for another meeting of brothers to a certain degree. 846 is in Bamidbar, in Numbers, chapter 20. Let's see over here. Let's go to verse 15. Let's go to the very top. Moshe sent messengers to the king of Edom. Ko amar achicha Yisroel. Right? Thus says your brother Israel. You know all that has befallen me. We went down to Egypt, and the Egyptians were very harsh on us. Verse 16, we called out to Hashem. He heard our voice. He sent a malach, a messenger, that's Moshe, who brought us out from Egypt. And now we're in Kadesh, a city that's close to your border. 17, let us pass through your land. We're not going to go through the fields. We're not going to take anything. We'll go where you tell us to go, and we'll buy anything that needs to be bought. Pasuk Yudchet. Vayomer Elav Edom. Lo ta'avor bi. Do not go by. Pen bacherev eitzei likratecha. Right? With a cherev, with a sword, eitzei likratecha. I will go out to greet you. So in case you want to say that maybe holech likratcha, what is said over here in our parsha, and Aaron's yotzei is different, well, there also it's yotzei likratecha. I'll go out to you with my cherev, with my sword. So we see that the term holech likratcha is a very ambiguous term. And in fact, Rashi, Ramban learned that this was a very threatening stance. Others learn that this was an honor guard, right? He was showing honor to Yaakov to come out with 400 people as his whole entourage, not as an army, not as fighters, but in order to go and give kavod, give honor to Yaakov. But Yaakov didn't know. Rashbam. But Yaakov didn't know. Vayira, page 172, Pasuk Chet, verse 8. Vayira Yaakov ma'od, vayetzer lo. Yaakov was very frightened and he was very distressed. Rashi says, interestingly, this is like the famous quote from Golda Meir. Rashi says he was afraid and distressed. He was afraid he might get killed. He was distressed that he might have to kill others. I think it was Golda Meir famously said, I don't know the exact quote, that we can forgive them for killing our children, right? We can't forgive them for making us have to kill them. Yeah. So Yaakov was afraid, vayetzer lo, and he was very distressed. And famously, he prepared in 3 ways for this encounter with Edom, with Esav. And in fact, we always say, Masa avot siman lebanim, the act of the fathers, that is the siman, that is the sign, the template for the children. And when we had to deal with Edom, with Esav throughout the generations, we prepared in 3 ways. What are the three in these 3 ways? What are the 3 ways? First of all, he split all with them into 2 camps. And he said, if Esav will come against one camp, the other one will escape, right? Will battle, and the other one will escape. So he prepared for battle. Number 2, Vayomer Yaakov, he prayed. Yaakov said, Elokei avi Avraham, Elokei avi Yitzchak, the God of my father Abraham, the God of my father Isaac. Hashem, the God who said to me, Shuv la'artzecha, go back to your land. Ulam oladatecha. That was the message that he got that God spoke to him there in the house of Lavan, go back home, go back to your land, to your birthplace, ve'tiva imach, and I'll be there with you. If that's God's guarantee, why was he concerned? Katonti, mikol chasadim, mikol ha'emet, asher asita et abdecha. I am diminished by all the kindness, all the truth that you've done with your servant. Meaning, I don't know if I am worthy. I don't know if I have remained worthy. I don't know if I am still worthy. With my staff, I crossed this Jordan. And now I'm two camps full. Right? So you've given me so much. And really, this is the every tefillah that we have, right? It needs to be coupled with this recognition, this acknowledging that God, you've given me so much more than I deserve. You have been so good to me. Therefore, Hatzileni na, save me, please. Miyad achi, miyad Esav. From the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esav. Why this again, this double term? From the hand of my brother, the hand of Esav. And different commentators, the Beis Halevi, others say that Yaakov was afraid of two dangers that Esav posed. And these are two dangers that we, the Bnei Yaakov, Bnei Yisroel, the descendants, have suffered from Esav. The two dangers are Miyad Achi and Miyad Esav. Miyad Esav is the battle, right? Is the physical harm that they can cause me, right? And we have certainly many examples. We have holocausts, we have pogroms, we have the Esav. But he was also concerned about the Achi, from the brotherhood of Esav. Meaning, and many have said, we've lost more to assimilation than we lost in a Holocaust, right? That's the achi. That's the danger that's posed when they welcome us as a brother, when they welcome us too much, and we start to lose our identity. And I always say, we need to be part of the society, but we need to retain our identity. Right? The Jewish ideal is not a melting pot, but it's more of a cholent. We have lots of different ingredients, but each one maintains its identity, its flavor, its values. And he was afraid, Hatzileni na, save me, please, miyad achi, miyad Esav, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esav. Ki arei anochi, I'm afraid, lest he'll come v'hikani and smite us, aim al banim, mother and child. Okay. That's the second preparation he made. Third preparation, let's go. Vayalen sham b'laylahu, vayikach min hababi adom mincha le'esav achiv. The third way is to send gifts, to curry favor. Tribute. He sent this mincha. He sent this tribute, this gift to Esav, his brother. Ezim matayim, goats, he-goats, she-goats, sheep, rams, camels, cows, right? All of these. Verse 17. Eider levado. He sent each flock by itself, and he said, leave space. Revach tasimu. Leave space between each of the flocks. And he told the first one, saying, when you meet Esav, my brother, and he asks you, saying, L'mi ata, page 174, 175, whose are you? Where are you going? And whose are these that are before you? and you should say they belong to Avdecha, your servant Yaakov. Mincha, a tribute is being sent to my master Esav, and behold, he's coming behind us. And the second group should say the same, and each group should say the same. Yes.
So Ken said appeasement. I don't think this is appeasement. I mean, it's a gift, but I don't.
Well,
get
why
it.
is he sending
No, it
this
is a
gift?
gift.
Why is he sending this gift?
To curry favor.
Right.
Right. So if someone's really angry and I'm sending a gift to try to curry favor, I think that can be called appeasement.
I see appeasement as.
How are you understanding appeasement? I think it might be a language thing.
Like Chamberlain to Hitler, you know. I mean, that's the appeasement that doesn't work.
That was appeasement that didn't work.
But I mean, he wasn't just coming with gifts.
Can I interject?
Well, I see Judy's distinction. There is I mean, I agree with you that it is, maybe we don't have enough words in the vocabulary to pinpoint it. It is a sort of appeasement, but what Judy's saying is correct.
Not capitulation.
So I see appeasement as weakness, but I don't see bringing gifts weakness.
Correct. So maybe you could differentiate
No,
between
depending on which
appeasement
regard, actually.
and capitulation, right?
There's another one. Can I
Sure.
briefly explain? When a person is a leader, he has to show certain leadership qualities. One of those qualities is kindness to those people who are kind to him. Otherwise, he just becomes a monster. Okay, there's a difference between a leader and a monster. If Jacob is sending wave after wave of gifts, and he gives him the people that are at the head of each wave these instructions to say where these are coming from and to whom they are being given, then that message is not just for Esav. It's with 400 men that are with him. They have to see that Esav is a leader and not a
That
monster.
Esav is a leader.
That Esav, the one that they're following, is a leader and
I'm
not a monster.
at all.
Oh, so now after he receives his kindness, he'll need to do kindness back to Jacob?
I don't think that's what
400 men
Jacob
have
has
to-
in mind. At all.
If you're a person like Esav, who is filled with anger, he has to show some ability to either share leadership or appreciate kindnesses being done to him. You become a leader by the agreement of your followers. And if your followers see that you are not somebody to be,
I understand what you're saying.
okay, put it this way, very briefly, because I'm taking up time. In studies
It's
of
okay.
monkey,
Okay,
Discussion class.
in
It's a
Yeah.
discussion class. Make your point.
studies of monkey troops, the leader is not always, the alpha male is not always the strongest and most skilled fighter. It's very often a monkey that has curried favor with others.
So how does Yaakov's gift to Esav,
Well, let's
we-
assume that you're right.
we're talking about
Let's
Yaakov's
assume that
intention,
you're
though.
right.
and you're talking about how it's going to play off with Esav. We're talking about Yaakov's intention, right?
Right.
Right?
Look at the
So
instructions that he gives the people that are leading the gifts or the sheep.
right. So it is a very, very submissive message. Thus says your servant Jacob. This is a tribute being sent to the master Esav. So to me, this is pretty humbling of oneself, right? Yeah. So I can hear appeasing as being okay, a way of explaining it. So it all goes before him, and then this classic moment, page 174, and what happened? Vayivater, verse 25. Vayivater Yaakov levado. Yaakov remained alone. V'yavek ish imo ad alot hashachar. And a man wrestled with him until the break of dawn. Vayar kilo yacholo. And when he saw that he cannot overcome him, meaning when this man, we're calling it at this point, cannot overcome Jacob, vayiga b'kaf yerecho. He struck the socket of his hip, vateka kaf yerech Yaakov, and it became dislocated. They have ko imo as he wrestled with him. But Yomin, he said, Shalcheni, send me. Ki Allah shachar, dawn has broken. And he said, Lo ashalecha kim berachtani, I will not send you unless you will bless me. Yomer Lav, and he said to him, Ma shemecha, what is your name? By Yomer Yaakov, and he said Yaakov. The Yomer, he said, Lo Yaakov yemar oshimcha, your name will no longer be Yaakov, ki im Yisroel, rather it will be Yisroel, ki sarita im Elokim ve'im anashim v'tuchal. You have striven, you have clashed with the godly. That was him. This Ish was an angel, according to our tradition. Ve'im anashim, and with people. That was Lavan. V'tuchal, and you have been able to overcome. Vayishal Yaakov. Yaakov asked and said, Hakidin Hashemecha, tell me please your name. And Vayomer, and he said, Lama zatishal lishmi. Why do you ask of my name? Right? It's irrelevant. Angels' names change according to their missions. You can't call out to me, even if you know my name. I only take orders from God, not from anyone else. Why do you ask my name? Vayivarech oto sham. And he blessed him there. So this was, according to our sages, this angel was the Sar of Esav. It was the angel of Esav that came to try to battle, to try to prevent him, but was unable to. Yaakov was victorious. So we mentioned before, the very first pasuk spoke about Yaakov sending malachim. And we mentioned malach is the term in Hebrew that can mean messenger and could also mean angel. Same word, because an angel is simply a messenger of God, as we saw by Yaakov's dream of the ladder, and he does what God sent him to do. So if that's the case, famously we ask, so how did the angel lose the battle against Yaakov? If he's God's, right, if he's being sent by God, then how does he lose the battle against Yaakov?
He's supposed to.
Right? So an approach is his mission is to battle and then to lose. That was his mission. Now, if we'll extend this further, as many do, that this Sar of Esav is this ministering angel of Esav is representative of the Yetzer Hara, of that which tempts us, that which misleads us. So then we have a whole another layer of understanding that the Yetzer Hara is there as a messenger of God to strengthen us, meaning to make us pull on kochot, on powers, abilities that we have that are latent, and to bring them into action, to make them, to actualize our potential. That is what the role is. And whenever we have a challenge, we have to know that, right, there's a teaching, right, that no person is given a challenge that they can't overcome. Now, that does not mean that everything's always going to work out the way that I want, right? The challenge might be, how am I going to deal with a situation that is very troubling to me, but that I can't unilaterally change? So there, my challenge is to handle that situation as well as I can. So there is no challenge that's given to us that we can't handle. And that's represented over here, that the angel folded at a certain point. The problem that we run into is when we fold before prematurely, and we think we can't, and we give in when really we did have the ability to overcome. So this is on the way, Judy.
Finish and then I'll.
Okay, well, this is on the way to Ace. I want to get to that now, but first, Judy.
So I was just wondering, like, seems strange to me to ask for a bracha from a Russia if you're calling this angel like an emissary of Esav in a Russia. So I'm wondering
Okay,
about that.
okay. So that's an important point. The Yetzer Hara, the Sar of Esav, is a spiritual force. Every spiritual force is a godly force. Right? Again, the Yetzer Hara is not the bad guy. In Christian thought, as I understand it, though I'm certainly no authority, you've got God, you've got Satan, and the two of them are clashing, right? And
It's like they're sitting on your shoulder.
right. But over here, they're both, there's God and there's the Yetzer Hara. I like to compare them to a personal trainer. A personal trainer, you hire the personal trainer. You're paying them good money to do what? To torture you, to push you to do more and more and more and more and more. And that, so this Yetzer Hara is in the employ of God, so to speak. And if the Sar of Esav will acknowledge Yaakov, then that's the greatest bracha. If my nemesis, if the spiritual force that works to fight against me will acknowledge my stature, then that's the greatest bracha. The one, and what was the bracha? He was called Yaakov. Remember, Esav said, "Oh, Hachi Karach Shemo Yaakov." That's why they called him Yaakov. Vayakveni Pamayim, because he deceived me twice, right? With the birthright and with the blessing. So Yaakov is a term that has to do with grabbing almost, right? With trickery. Yisroel is ascendant, right? Eventually, we will be called Yeshurun, which is Mamash Yashar, which means straight. So therefore, his acknowledging this name change that God himself will do with Yaakov later on, his acknowledging is acknowledging now you're no longer the one like this who's trying to grab and keep up. You are now in a position of ascendancy. So that bracha is really an acknowledgement from his nemesis of what Yaakov has gotten to.
Is there something intentional with respect to names, to the fact that we always say Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov?
Yes. So, I'm sorry, man. I thought I understood your question. I'm not sure if I understand your question.
What was the good question that I asked? I mean, instead of saying Abraham, Yitzchak, and
Yisroel.
yeah.
Oh, okay. So why do we always refer to Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? So that's interesting. So let me ask another question, which I thought you were going with, but I think that'll bring us back to yours. And that is, Avram became Avraham, and never again is he called Avram. Sarai became Sarah, and never again is she called Sarai. Yaakov became Yisroel, but the two names are used interchangeably. It's interesting. I once called Rabbi David Cohen. It's a major posek, Talmid Chacham posek in New York. And there's a fellow here whose name was Avram. And he wanted to be Avraham, not Avram. I don't want to find the name Avram. I want to be Avraham. So I called Rabbi Cohen. He wanted to change his name from Avram to Avraham. Rabbi Cohen said, his name is Avraham. I said, no. They named him Avram at the bris. It was a mistake. His name is Avraham. No, he was named after his grandfather, who was Avram. That was also a mistake. He said, Jews don't name Avram. Jews name Avraham. But the way in many of the European dialects is Avrom, right? Avrom. Avrom. So it comes out as Avrom, right? But the name is Avraham. He said he does not need to change his name. His name is Avraham. He should be called up to the Torah as Avraham, not Avram. Regardless of what they said at the bris, regardless of his grandfather, great-grandfather, whoever it is, it's Avram. So why is that name changed? Huh? Should have asked him that. It's a good question. I should have asked him that.
Actually.
I should have asked him that. So over here, so the Or HaChaim says that every person's name is their essence in the heavens, right? And therefore, Avram, right? Avraham contains Avram. So it wasn't a change, right? Whereas Yisroel is an added essence, but he needs to have both essences. But the way we usually understand it is from the wording, there it says you will not be called Avraham, you'll be called Avram. Whereas over here, we'll see over there later on, the pasuk is going to say at the actual name change, your name is Jacob, and then it mentions Yisrael. So, and the two terms, the Or HaChaim, I believe, also says the two terms are used throughout the Torah. We'll see as it goes on, fascinating. When he's in a lowly, troubled, sa'ar, difficult state, he's Yaakov. When he's in a state of ascendancy, of Ruach HaKodesh, he is Yisrael. From the time that Yosef is sold, it's Yaakov, Yaakov, Yaakov. And then when he hears the news about Yosef, it says Yaakov heard what they said, Vatichi Ruach Yisrael. The spirit of Yisrael came to life. And he says that's the pasuk that really shows us clearly. When he has that spirit, he's Yisrael. When he's down, he's Yaakov. So it could very well be that when we're coming for tefillah, for prayer, so we're coming to
Ascend.
we're trying to ascend, but we're recognizing that we are in a place that we need a lift. We need some picking up. So perhaps that's why over here in our tefillah it's Yaakov. Yes, Dov.
Okay, I'm thinking now that the supervision angel of Esav is defeated, his weakness is now going to be felt over by Esav, and now what?
Okay. So let's see what happens. Right? Yaakov, Perek Lamed Gimel, page 176, Lamed Gimel, 33:1. Yaakov lifts up his eyes and he sees Esav is coming with 400 men with him, splits the camp as we said before, arrange them as they do. V'hu pasuk Gimel avar lifnehem. He passed by in front of them. Vayishtachu arza sheva pa'amim. And he bowed down to the ground 7 times. Ad gishto ad achiv, until he had drawn close to his brother. Vayaretz Esav likrato. Esav ran to him. Vayichabkeyu, and he hugged him. Vayipol tzavarav, fell onto his neck. Vayishakeyu, and he kissed him. Vayivku, and they cried. So once again, it's still not clear. Those that say that Esav was coming to battle, right? But his heart melted, right? From the gifts, from the appeasement, from the bowing, whatever it was. And now he's kissing him. Others will say, this is what he wanted to do all along, right? He was never coming, right? Again, we still don't have the clarity over here. There's a beautiful, beautiful teaching here.
But then why the 400 people? You
Honor
bring a
guard.
few dignitaries.
Honor guard, according to that opinion, right? You're leaning more towards Rashi and Ramban.
No, I'm not even like saying that one
Yeah.
or another. I'm just thinking doesn't make sense, right? If I go
400.
if I come in peace, I'll bring my few
Wife
high
and
counselors
kids
that I
and
want you to meet.
some leaders. I hear that.
Right, you don't want to meet
I hear
my
that.
Joe Schmo soldier.
I hear that.
Inconsequential.
I hear.
Say it again.
Difference between an honor guard and an
Exactly.
army.
Yeah.
Very good.
But look at Pasuk Gimel. He passed in front of them. Yaakov did. Vayishtachu arza sheva pamim. He bowed down 7 times. Ad gishto ad achiv. Beautiful teaching that I love very much. We can't change someone else. We can change ourselves. But the way, there's a pasuk in Mishlei, Kamayin panim el panim, kain leiv ish. The way that water reflects a face, so too is the heart of a person. If I'm feeling positively towards someone else, that person will reflect that, and they will start to at least feel positively towards me. If I'm feeling anger, animosity, malice towards someone else, that will be reflected. So Yaakov knew he needed to work on himself. So what did he do? Vayishtachu artzi, bowed down to the ground 7 times. Ad gishto ad achiv. Until he had drawn close to what? Achiv, his brother. Meaning Yaakov needed to work on himself to feel this achva, to feel this brotherhood, to feel this closeness, this camaraderie, right? And thinking, how is it, like last week we discussed, that Rachel was able to understand, how is it that Leah feels after this marriage? That Leah said, it's not enough that you took my husband, now you want to take the dudaim. Yaakov needed to say, how does Esav feel? What's he going through? Until he was overcome with a feeling of ad achiv. And it took work on Yaakov's part. The result, vayaratz Esav likrato. Esav runs to greet him and hugs him and falls on his neck and kisses him and cries. That once we can alter and elevate our feelings towards someone else, then that is reflected back. That is reciprocated. Judy.
So you have said in the past that some people are toxic, and it's not that you have bad feelings toward them, but you just recognize that you should stay away from them.
Correct.
Esav seems like he could fall into that category.
Yes.
But here Yaakov is working.
Yes, but look what happened. Well, we're not going to have time to go through. Afterwards, Esav accepts the gift, and he says over here, right? Look what happens over here. Go to page 178, 179, verse Yud Bet, right? Esav said, let us go. I'll travel along with you. Yaakov says, thanks, but no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. He said to my Lord knows the children are tender, the nursing flocks and cattle are upon me. They'll be driven hard for a single day, then all the flocks will die. Go ahead of you, my Lord, go ahead of his servant. I'm going to make my slow pace according to the gate of the drove before me and the gate of the children until I come to my Lord at Seir. He said, let me sign you some people who are with me. And he said, to what purpose? Let me just have found favor in my Lord's eyes. So Esav started back that day on his way towards Seir. Jacob journeyed to Sukkot, built himself a house, right? So yes, if someone is toxic, right? And I think both can be true. If someone is toxic, I can feel for that person. I can feel warmth for that person. I can feel pity for that person, compassion for that person, right? Sometimes you meet a person and everything, rah, 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 rah. And I always think to myself, like, I'm glad I don't live in that person's life, in that person's world. That person's world, everything is just so down and so angry and so distorted and so dirty. That's not the world that I see, right? I can feel bad for that person. But I could also decide that that person's company is pretty toxic. So I'm not going to look to spend that much time with that person. I can feel compassion, brotherhood, pity, love even for a person. At the same time, make a decision that this is not a healthy relationship for me to be heavily involved with.
I'm agreeing.
Yeah.
Very easy thing to see.
Yeah.
This is a good example.
Yeah. Ad gishto ad achiv. At the same time, you go your way, you go your speed. I'll catch up, right? Don't call me, I'll call you. We'll get there. We'll get there. And actually, they say that this is a little bit of a messianic, that when will he meet him, right? Darko Seira. He'll meet him eventually, right? Rashi brings, the when will he go to Seir? B'yimei HaMashiach, in the time, the messianic times. As it says, V'alu Moshiyim B'har Tzion, Lishbot et Har Esav, right? Yeah, that's where we will, that's where we will meet again, right? So just very, very important though, just one other point to make, also a very important point, on page 178. So Esav at first says, I don't need this gift, verse 9. V'yomer Esav, yesh li rav, I've got so much. Achim, my brother, yihi lecha shelach, right? Let it be for you that which is yours. V'yomer Yaakov, no, please, matzadichem beinecha lakachtem min chati biyadi, right? Please accept this gift, this tribute. It's like seeing the divine, you have accepted me. And then, Yud Aleph, Kach nad birchati. Take now my bircha. Rashi says the bircha is once again referring to the tribute. Rabbi Sachs, quoting others, says, actually at this point, this is one of the two approaches we discussed last week or 2 weeks ago, Yaakov was saying, the bracha is yours, right? I took it through trickery. I don't want that bracha. I'm giving it back to you. And one of the ways we explained that Yaakov was an ish emet, that he recognized his error and he wanted to make it right. He became an ish emet. The whole bracha was not, that's two ways of learning. But then he says, V'chiyesh li kol. I've got kol. I've got everything. And there are two different ways that people go through life. There's yesh li rav and yesh li kol. Yesh li rav means I've got a lot. There's always room for one more. Yesh li rav. Yesh li kol means I've got everything that I need, right? No one has everything. But if we recognize that God is the one who is orchestrating, I've got everything that I need. The bracha we make in the morning is She'asa li kol sarki. You've done for me all of my needs. Hashem, I've got whatever I need. Yesh li kol. I've got everything that I need. And that is two different approaches in life. Interesting, just another minute. Look back in the Garden of Eden with the Nachash, with the snake, and we see a very interesting interplay over there with these words. 1 second. Let's find that page 14. Page 14. Perek Gimel in Bereshit. Right? And he says, Vayom el Ish, he said to him, Kol ma'alukim, lo tochlu mikol eitz hagan. You can't eat mikol from any tree of the gan. And she responds, Pasuk Bet, no. Repri eitz hagan nochel. We can't eat from the trees of the garden. But from the tree of the eitz in the middle of the garden, God said we cannot eat lest we will die. God knows when you eat from that, right? So then, just 1 second. Did I miss it? 1 second, sorry. Yeah. So back on page 12, sorry. Hashem told Adam, Mikol eitz hagan achol tochel. From all the trees you can eat, but from that one you cannot eat. Right? For that one you cannot eat. And the Nachash, how he twisted that around, he said, Mikol eitz lo tochlu mikol eitz hagan. Right? You can't eat from all the trees. right? So I could look at it in one of two ways. Either, right, I can't eat from all of the trees, right? Because that one is missing. I can't eat from all of the trees, or I can eat from all of the trees, save that one, right? Once again, it all depends on what is the attitude that I have. What is the focus? Is the focus Yeshli Kol, right? Focusing on what I have, I've got everything, or is the focus on Yeshli Rav? I've got a lot, right? But whatever I don't have, and often that becomes the fixation, right? That's the broken tile syndrome, right? The fixation is always ends up being on that which I don't have. Coming back over here, Yaakov's attitude is Yeshli Kol, right? Focusing on what I've got, Yeshli Kol, I've got everything, and therefore please take this gift. In the end, Esav takes the gift. He has been placated. What was his intent initially? It is pretty ambiguous, right? Aaron looks at the 400, right? And like Ken said, it's more of an army than an honor guard. But the term the Torah uses is ambiguous. And I think very often in our relationships, our connections with different people, there's a lot of things that are ambiguous. And we need to be safe, but we also need to be open towards the good that might be out there coming our way. Okay, once again, the learning this morning was Eloi Nishmat, Judy's mother, Malka Bat Shmuel. Want to tell us a little bit about her? How old were you when she passed away?
I was 8.
Wow.
But like one of the things that I always remember, because I went to a Jewish faith school, is we had to memorize all of the davening over the course of the year, and I remember like, sitting in her bedroom and reciting and practicing.
Wow. Wow.
Davening by heart, and she would listen.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. By what?
By heart.
Oh,
Wow.
interesting.
Eloi Neshama.
I'm glad I got here in time to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. Janet.
I was rushing. One by through else, I'll say about that.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you.
A good day, everybody. Be well.
Yes.
Honey,
No.